Welcome back to the Horns Down podcast with your host Chris Griffin and that guy Seth Oliveira. Seth, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing real well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just itching closer and and closer and closer to some football. Finally, I mean, we get games next week. We'll talk about that when the time comes. But man, just all the excitement that's going on right now, and then all the news about Nebraska and Scott Frost. I just can't contain myself, man. Seriously.
Oh, Nebraska. Yeah, that
Oh,
is that's going to be a fun week when we get to that week. But I mean, they just keep giving us plenty more to talk about before that game even gets here. But yeah, I'm right there with you. It's going to be nice having just one more weekend without football because after that, it's all systems go.
all systems go. All girlfriends, please go elsewhere. All fall weddings. I hope that you win miserably. Okay, from the bottom of my heart, please no fall weddings this year. I have to go to a fall wedding during the Nebraska game, so
Ah,
unfortunately. But anyways, we have a heck of a show for you guys. This is well, we I guess we want to call it like the first half of the show. We got a special guest that we're still kind of coordinating something with real quick, and we're gonna get him on the show. Uh, you definitely want to stay tuned for that because it's gonna be the preview of the first game. So that's the hint that I'll drop. But Seth, what are we talking about first, man?
man. Well, so the beginning of this week, the AP poll, the preseason poll was released, so everybody knows where their official rankings are. So as people watching this podcast probably already know, OU checked in at number 2 in the nation. So what do you think about that?
Um, obviously, I want to go with the Jalen Hurts, motto, rat poison. But hey, deservingly so. I think we talked about it earlier today. As Alabama's the top dog right now. They're the prize team, regardless of who their quarterback or regardless of what they're bringing in as coordinators or as recruits. So until somebody takes that you know pedestal away from them, uh, it's their trophy to lose. So, but I think as far as OU, I think it's great. This has been an off season that's been mixed with a lot of hype, but also a lot of just let's be patient. Let's let this team grow into their own. This team is way different than it was last year. This team is way different than it was a year, or 2 years, 3 years ago. So I like that. I feel like OU always plays better when they have a chip on their shoulder. So there's the excitement that hey, we know what's ahead of us and we know what this team could potentially do, but also we know that we need to use last season as building blocks and as learning lessons as well to get to where we possibly want to be. What about you, Seth? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on all those points. I mean, I before the rankings came out, I would have guessed OU was going to be 3, maybe 4, but I was thinking it was a top 3. But so to see number 2 was only a little surprising. But I mean, if you compare what they're bringing back and how they finished the last season, I mean, finished, I say finished, but heck, the last 8 games of the season, they were a different team and they just got better and better as the season waged on. So if comparing to other teams out there, other teams that wanted to make their case for a top 5 spot, you gotta like what OU has, on bringing to the table because, I mean, obviously you got Spencer Rattler who might be the number 1 quarterback in the nation and might be the first quarterback taken in the upcoming draft. So, I mean, that's a huge for any team to ever have that alone is going to be up there. But then the defense. I mean, everybody's been talking about the defense this offseason and just what Alex Grinch is doing. So, I mean, it looks like they're going to be one of the better defenses, definitely in the last decade or so of OU football, but they should be one of the best defenses in the nation, honestly. Like with what they've got, with the experience and the depth, like I don't see any reason why they're not one of a top 15, maybe even the top 10 defense. Maybe not statistically, just because that kind of that's a little bit different. But as far as efficiency goes, I I think we're going to see something. So I think number two is a good spot for them. I kind of wish, just for like selfish reasons, that they were a little lower, just to give them more of a chip, like you talked about.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think this team's got what it takes to not feed into the rat poison, if you will.
It's hard to it's hard not to put a team like this at number two because you're looking at them and saying, on paper and on the field, this may be the most balanced team that Lincoln Riley has ever fielded. You're also looking at the fact that you have experience where other teams lack that experience. Um, you're looking at CJ Stroud to come in and possibly be the starting quarterback, or in my opinion, it could either be CJ Stroud or Kyle McCord. I think that's his name. So I think it could be either one of those quarterbacks for Ohio State. With Clemson, you may not have that much of a question mark, but still, DJ Ugalele played against. I think I got that right. But anyway, he played against I want to say a terrible Boston State. I mean Boston, excuse me, Boston College team. He played against like a mediocre Boston College team that just came in and just, hey, we were game planning better than you guys were, but you guys still came back and beat us. And then also, Clemson was young, real young. I mean, they had a bunch of injuries last year as well. But let's not forget the fact that, as always, you can talk about OU as much as you want, but Notre Dame is another team that is really gaudy. Like they put up a lot of really big numbers, but they don't really deliver. So I thought he played great in that game, but at the same time, let's see what he can do in a full season, which I think he'll probably end up, hell, he could probably break any record that Trevor Lawrence put out there. But at the same time, let's just wait and see. Let's wait and see what the run game is like. Let's see what their receivers are like. Let's see, what their defense is like. We know they have going to have a great front seven, but let's see if their, uh, DBs have taken a step, because let's be honest, in that Ohio State game, they look mediocre at best against Ohio State's wide receiving core. Um, but all in all, to say, I mean, I think deservedly so. You should be too. There's some question marks surrounding even Alabama, but there's some question marks surrounding every team. I mean, even OU. But at the same time, I think that just given with the body of work that you can go off of on the last 8 games of last season, going into this year, I think you're not only are the voters more confident, I think fans in general, not just OU fans, but I think a lot more fans are feeling more comfortable about any picks they have, including OU in the playoffs.
Exactly. And now I'd like to take a look around the poll, and like some other Big 12 teams are just notable teams. And I mean, obviously, Iowa State being up there at number 7 is huge for them. Now I don't know. It it might end up backfiring, because with at least as far as the matchup goes with OU and Iowa State, if they don't play until it's OU's next to last game of the season, when they go when Iowa State comes to Norman. So depending on how both teams' seasons go, this could either be end up being a top 5 matchup, or it could just be something that people just don't even like want to watch, or there'll be a bigger game on that night. But we'll find out. Like, but it's set up perfectly for it to be that kind of a matchup. And then if it does get to that point, what's amazing is most likely both OU and Iowa State are going to probably be back in the Big 12 championship game if it goes the way people are predicting it'll to go, at least the media. Then we could be looking at not back to back, but at 2 out of the last 3 games for OU and before the playoff starts could be against top 5, top 7 level Iowa State teams, and that would be huge, especially if they win both of those games. So I mean, that's like looking way ahead, but that's what's on the table for OU going into
So,
this season.
so what I was going to say, just piggybacking off of that, I think um, if Iowa State makes it back to the Big 12 championship game, I think basically that really tells us the strength of the Big 12. I don't think that playing against OU and possibly you get what I'm saying, like K State and all those teams.
Yeah.
I think we'll take care of those teams this year. But I think that if the Big 12 is going to be strong this year, I think that that second spot has to be up for grabs. As far as Iowa State, Texas, um, I guess if you go off of what Landry Burdine had to say, uh,
TCU.
you, and then obviously the Pope faithful are going to always vouch that they should have a say so in this, but you guys are not even in the top 25. But, I think that Iowa State honestly is the measuring stick for a lot of teams in the Big 12 because a lot of those teams are already banking on the fact that okay, the Big 12 is going to run through Norman at least one more year.
Yeah,
While
I mean, go. You brought up OSU, and then them, yeah, not even being ranked, and I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, pollsters and ranker, the people who rank these things don't necessarily look at stuff like this, but it is kind of funny how OSU isn't even ranked, but Miami, who in their both of their last games played each other in whatever bowl game that was, like I don't know, it was a Cheez It Bowl or something. They played each other, and at the end of last season, OSU just thoroughly beat them, and yet Miami is like 14th in the precinct, which I don't even know. Like, what year is this? Like, why are they getting so much credit? Like, is that Texas or something? Like, I don't understand that. But well, I do
so
understand it because they're playing Alabama, and they want to give Alabama a top 15 win right off the bat, even though Miami is going to probably finish with like 5 or 6 losses on the season.
so this is what I'm thinking. Okay. Um, I'm not really worried about Miami as much because we already know they're going to get that's going to be taken care of.
Yeah,
Um, I guess the question mark, the question that I have Seth is simple: is De'Aaron King going to be mobile enough to make something happen, or is he going to? And is he going to be mobile enough to avoid that Alabama pressure? Because let's be honest, they had there's a lot of teams that had great seasons due to COVID-19.
yep.
I don't know any other way to put it. Now, I hope I'm
Texas
not coming
A&M.
off as offensive to anybody, but there's a lot of teams who benefited from having veteran play in a year where you had a bunch of young cores out there that didn't have a spring or a summer camp like they did this year. The ball is going to be spent a little bit differently this year. Okay, it's going to be spinning a little bit differently. But you're looking at Miami and you're saying, I want to see what your offensive line is like, and I also want to see what your run game is like. You're not going to be able to come out there and play gadget plays. If you come out there trying to nickel and dime the ball against Alabama, that plays into their strategy because the biggest thing for me is, De'Aaron King is going to have to be mobile enough to make something happen out there because let's just be honest, for all the hype that he's getting with the NIL and all the rest of that stuff, that still bears no that shows us nothing about the deep ball, about any of the passes that has his passing accuracy, has his passing ability improved. So that's the thing that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing in that game because I just feel like it's going to be a blowout. I think Vegas already has the line set at about what 18 and a half.
Ooh,
So you're looking at that game and you're saying, I mean, this is a blowout. This is a typical Alabama opening of,
yeah.
hey, we're going to come out here and show you exactly what we're going to do. Now, the thing that you have to worry about with Alabama is just how conservative are they going to be with Bryce Young? I know that it's not like he's having to learn a new playbook all over again with Bill O'Ryan, but at the same time, you're looking at him saying, okay, is this going to be like Jalen's year, or is this going to be like a two a year where you kind of open up the playbook more? So I think you'll see something in between to start the season, and then in the middle, towards the middle of the season and the latter part of the season, you'll see that playbook kind of as it's supposed to be going into next year, obviously. So we all know that they're good enough to play, grimy and gritty football just to get to that next level. Um, but that's a great point though, as far as OSU beat them last year, and
Without Tuba and Like they
Yeah.
barely used Tylen. I don't even think he played the second half.
No,
And
with
then they
Spencer and with Spencer Sanders at quarterback the entire game, so you're just kinda like, okay."
yeah, he's like
Um,
a player for the other team. He might as well be.
but, like, I don't know if here's the thing, OSU faithful will sit there and tell you that, "Hey, we have running backs and all of that," and you're just sitting there like, "No, you don't." I think LD Brown. I like LD Brown a lot.
Oh yeah, he's
I
the
would
truth.
love LD Brown to be on our squad. Could you imagine? I mean, when he does hit that hole, he's gone.
Yeah,
But I think last year he was trying to really figure out how do I be a scat back, but also a power back, a every down back.
yeah,
So and then the other running backs that they had that came out there and balled out against, other teams or whatnot, you're just looking at them and saying, okay, that's great, but you got to do it again. You got to do it for all 12 games this season. And then
yeah.
obviously, I think, to be honest with you, I know the defense is going to be, disciplined and above average, but I mean, the OSU is going to live and die by their wide receiving core and their quarterback. And I don't think either one of us believe in them. So
No.
I don't think them being outside of the top 25, I don't think that that's disrespectful. I think that that's just like, hey, you guys are going to have to prove this. And I think that you crack the top 25 if you're OSU if you go out there and handle business against Tulsa and Boise State,
Oh
as
yeah,
you should.
yeah, yeah. If they, especially that Boise State game, like yeah, they're coming back to Stillwater with that dub. They're going to be maybe even inside the top 20 by that point. Like they're going to go up because people are going to be watching that game. That's definitely one of the more underrated non-conference games nationally. Um, and I guess lastly, I mean, it's only right that we got to talk about this team on the Horns Down podcast. But Texas at 21, which I mean, like honestly, like I don't think they deserve to be ranked. I mean, over the last 10 years, they've proven that they're they fall short of expectations every year. I think the one year in the last like 11 seasons that they actually did better than what they were projected to be was 2018, and they still didn't even win the Big 12. So it's like even in the best year that they've had in 11 years, they're not even a champion. So it's like all they've shown us for since then, and then with all the turnover, the Steve Sarkisian and all that, like it's just I feel like it's only right to start a team like that unranked. But I mean, I don't get too hyped up over the poll because I know it all work itself out. But I think it is funny that they're 21 and they're right out of the gate. They're in a top 25 matchup with number 23 Louisiana. So I don't know. It's almost like it wouldn't even be an upset if Louisiana won because they're almost the same rank. So
Seth, 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 I came into this show saying that I was going to change up my approach and let you speak, let you talk about all the things you wanted to talk about. I'm trying to talk football here. I'm trying to talk to these to our faithful out here, our fans, to our viewers. I'm trying to talk to them and talk about football and not get on this on StreamYard today talk about Texas football. If you want to talk about Texas football, go talk to Fanatic's perspective. We're going to hang out at Nino's Corner. I don't have time for that. Okay. But what I will say about Texas, though, is that from a little birdie dropped to me something today. They're saying that Casey Thompson has not been taking first team reps. They said that Hudson Card has. So
who
I don't know. I'm gonna say it like this right here. Here's my theory about Texas this year. This is the only thing I'm gonna say about that team. Okay, that's what I'm gonna start calling them that team. I believe that team will run a two quarterback system for the better part of the season. I really do.
that's a train wreck. I can't wait to watch if that happens.
It's a hand toss. Both were, I believe, four-star recruits. I'm not really sure about Casey Thompson, but I know Hudson Card is a four-star recruit. I watched him in one of those All-Star games, and I was like,
Oh
he's
yeah,
not bad at all. I mean, he seems to be pretty accurate. He's got a good spin on the ball.
didn't he play like wide receiver or something? He's pretty mobile.
No,
Like
Hudson
I
Card
mean,
was
like
a
as
wide.
a
I mean, he was a quarterback. He was a quarterback.
in high
But
school. Okay,
yeah, he was one. He was. But then again, here's the thing. I think that we all need to like remember. Hudson Card is a Herman guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see what Steve Sarkeesian is going to be able to do with him. I don't think 23 is out of is too low for them, or 21 is too low for them because, like I said, they're in the same boat as OSU. You got to go improve it. Okay, we don't respect your league, and we definitely don't respect you. Like I told you, I think earlier today, there's no difference between. Well, the only difference between Texas and Michigan is that Michigan has a better winning percentage in history. And if you guys want to go off of the numbers and say differently, that is perfectly fine with me. Both teams are mediocre and they've been mediocre. Texas and Michigan are honestly one step above a team like Nebraska. Okay, and Texas A&M. Texas A&M and well, at least Nebraska has national championships and
Right.
winners that I would like really consider because everybody wants to talk about Johnny football. And I'm just like, okay, it's great. Let's talk about playground football too. I know a lot of kids that were out there in playground football that look better than Johnny Manziel, but they never got a scholarship. But all jokes aside, though, I think that team, as I call them, I think I mean, it is what it is, but hey, Louisiana and then Arkansas, go show me something. Go show me something, and then we'll talk about moving you up.
And that right there would just to kind of end this, talk about the poll and stuff. But if with what Texas has on their schedule before the Red River game, if for somehow by some miracle Sarkeesian's able to pull off an undefeated run through up to that point, they'll be way up there. Just I mean, because it's like people are just waiting for Texas to be good finally and to be undefeated in the middle of the season. So if they end up running the table, that's going to be the biggest Red River game we've had since probably '08 or '09 as far as no, definitely '08 as far as like how both teams go entering the game. Because I mean, I don't think we've had a season where they were both undefeated at that point. Obviously, OU got to take care of their own business, but
Mhm.
like the the floor is there in front of them. The stage is set. Is this both teams got to take care of business? But you and I are both on record saying we don't think Texas is going to get to that game
What
undefeated.
we say
So
about 8-5?
yeah. Well, like regular season, yeah. Like I think I've even talked myself into 7-5, and then so I guess if they win a bowl game 8-5, yeah. But yeah, I think they win. They're losing at least 4 games this season, but I can see 5.
Hopefully more.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully 8, 9.
well, no, just to go ahead and go on to our next subject. We're looking at OU's fall camp.
Yeah.
What have you been hearing?
Man, I've been hearing a lot. I know you've been sharing with me some of the stuff that you've been hearing as well. We've been talking about it, but I think one of the things that stands out to me, one of the players I'm really excited about, um, is Billy Bowman, freshman. I mean, he's an athlete still, even though he's working primarily on the defensive side of the ball and they're looking at him at nickel, which I don't think he's gonna rise up to the point where he's like a day one starter at that point. Because I think right now Cradell's probably the dude for that. But hell, he just looks like he could probably rotate at either safety position, just somewhere in the secondary. But obviously nickel is looking like his probably strongest point. But I mean, the dude is just like it's just he's one of those dudes where he's like the first guy off the bus kind of guy. Like you see him, and I mean he's a true freshman, and this guy like he's just built and he looks the part, and so and we all know he plays the part. Just judging by how highly touted he was coming out of high school, how he performed even in the spring game. He was already showing flashes. He had a couple really nice splash plays. So I mean, he's only going to get better with time, and so I'm really excited. I don't know how much we'll see him this season. Definitely in the beginning of the season, we probably will see him mostly on special teams or something. But as the season goes on, I definitely expect him to be a guy that uh, most of Sooner Nation uh, can recognize and knows.
So let's I brought up a phrase that we always laugh about and we joke about. Okay, rat poison. So one thing that I know that I've talked to my uncles about awful lot because we talk about OU football like crazy. It's always the names that you hear the most in the off season for OU that never really get any shine or attention during the year. So I've been taking a lot of things with a grain of salt. I mean, from the scrimmage, they're saying that the defense has been kicking the offense's tail for the better part of camp, and then they're saying that the run game was extremely successful against them during that scrimmage. You didn't see that many explosive plays. Then the IG video drops, and then you're seeing Mario Williams, Stogner, a bunch of people catch balls, and then you're seeing DJ Graham going crazy all over IG, and I'm just like, okay, okay, let me get to the too deep depth chart, and then we can really talk about this. I'm just as excited about all the players. I think it's well documented how we feel about select players on the team and what we think they're going to be. I think Woody Washington is going to be a lockdown corner. I think that Jeremiah Cradell is going to be a great in a lot of situations, but I think Billy Bowman is going to be a great athlete in that situation as well. Not to take away from Jeremiah Cradell, but But then also with Harrington, they're saying Harrington is starting to look really good at corner. You're still hearing a lot about. You heard early on about McCutcheon about how he started up slow. Then he ended fast. So I'm definitely excited to see the secondary, and I think that you're going to be deep enough where you're not going to have a lot of mental lapses out there. You're going to see a lot of guys be able to come through and make and help. Um, guys like Danny Stutzman, who they've been talking about an awful lot. It's those unsung heroes that I'm excited to see because those are going to be the guys who are just like, wait a minute, what number is that? Who is he? One guy that we haven't heard about, but we know is going to be out there in some way or shape or form, Shane Whittier.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, you're looking at a host of different players that are going to get a lot of time out there, and you're looking at the offense, and you're basically saying, you're hearing them get so much praise and so much love, but then also people have to find a negative about it. I think your offense is going to be extremely explosive, and I think that they're going to be great. Okay, so I mean,
Where do you think this offense will end up ranking as far as in the Lincoln Riley or so 2017 and on?
I would say
Just from what do you predict?
I think that this offense will be more explosive than the Kyler team.
Who got Hollywood, Rodney Anderson. Oh no, Rodney Anderson was the year before. Then he
Now,
got hurt.
now here's my now here's my hot take. Now here's my hot take. When you look at the list of quarterbacks, obviously everybody loves Baker, so people will put him number one.
Right, right.
In terms of just overall talent, and you may disagree with me, and please tell me if you do. But if we're going off of arm talent alone, I'm gonna rank it Spencer, Kyler, and then Baker.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
If we're going off a mass appeal, then obviously it's Baker, Kyler, then probably Rattler. But if we're just going off of just throwing talent, come on, man, Rattler is.
I think I agree with you as far as I think Rattler with just pure arm talent is the dude out of those three. He leads the way. I think as far as like overall talent and just if I was going to pick one of those quarterbacks to start a team, I think I'm going with Kyler still, just because what he can do with his legs is just, I mean, you're just not going to find that in, sometime 10, 15, 20 years between in programs. Like it's just, the dude is just amazing what he did and we didn't even see his full potential. We just saw one season of it. Like imagine if he had started 3 seasons like Baker did, like what kinds of performances we could have seen. Like we got one great, obviously Heisman Trophy winning season, but I mean that he just scratched the surface at OU, and obviously,
That's always the problem with Kyler because a lot of people want to pick Kyler over Baker, but they're scared to because we only had a small sample size. But to
yeah,
win the Heisman in 1 year of like real play, Come on, man, that's
Yeah,
incredible. But just
with
if
that
you look,
defense.
look, I've seen the throws that Collar can make. Collar made some throws. If you go back to the Iowa State game, you go back to obviously the Oklahoma State games, and there's games throughout the season. I mean,
Yeah,
we could
Big
play
12 championship.
that K State game right there. It looked like it was air on routes out there. You know what I'm saying? Routes on air out there. Excuse me. I don't know why, but yeah,
Yeah,
it
even
just
Buki was making plays in that game.
yeah, right, right. But anyway, like I was saying though, but yeah, I mean, I just think that if you were gonna give me those three right there, I would say I'm probably gonna go with Spencer.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with Spencer. And then
Okay, okay.
next year we might be saying Caleb Williams is probably because
Oh my,
I think that Kyler and Spencer are in that same category as like we like them, we love them, they're OU quarterbacks, but it's like we didn't get all of their personality that we really wanted. But with
yeah,
Baker and I think Caleb, I think you're going to get all of Caleb's personality. It seems like it's pretty infectious, especially amongst his teammates and some recruits. But also, you're looking at like he's not going to have the bravado, I guess, as a Baker Mayfield, but he's going to have that just hey man, I want to be around him because he seems like a good guy.
God, Caleb Williams is gonna tear up the SEC. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm just ready for that 20. I'm ready for that 2023 class to get on campus. But
Yeah.
speaking of that, our last subject, and we'll go on that. What are your thoughts about Luther Burden decommitting from OU? Five
Man,
star wide receiver, number one wide receiver in the nation. For you folks that don't know, or you if you do know.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely a blow. It's like depending on what recruiting service you're looking at, he's like probably the most talented dude committed to the 2022 class at the time for OU. So like, no team ever wants to lose the commit of that high caliber. But I think if OU was ever going to lose a commit at that like at a position, as far as in just a verbal commit, receivers got to be one of the better, one of the least impactful ones. Because and even though looking at the class right now, I don't think there's a single receiver committed now. I think Luther Burden was the only one because they also had Talon Shetron also committed, and then he flipped to OSU for his brother. But yeah, I think just with Simmons, we talked about this today. Like he's the way he's been developing those receivers and recruiting. Like he's been recruiting great guys. Obviously, I mean there's like a number of 5 stars on the team currently, and so I mean he got to give him credit for that. I think they're going to rebound. I'm like since it's happening now in August before the season even starts. I'm not as concerned because I know OU's either going to pick up another like highly touted recruit or they're going to go just transfer portal this thing, or they'll do both. And I kind of think I'm leaning towards both. They're probably going to get a highly rated wide receiver through the uh, on the recruiting trail,
Yeah,
but there's going to be a guy out there, especially if let's just say for example Theo Wees, Jaden Hazelwood both declare, which we're kind of like 50-50 on whether or not they will or not, or just depending on
mhm,
how the season go. But if for some reason they both leave, and I'm not sure who else, I'd have to look at the roster again. But like even if they just lose those two, that's going to leave a lot of catches for somebody to come in and try to take. So that's going to be really attractive for any receiver in the nation who has already proven themselves at the college level and who wants to play another year of college ball. I mean, so it's going to work itself out, but right now it does like it just kind of like it's never fun losing a recruit, but I'm not like hitting a panic button at all.
So I'm looking down everybody because I'm listening to Seth, but I was looking for and correct me if I'm wrong, is DJ, I mean not DJ, but DeAndre Moore, is he a 2022 or a 23 class?
I don't even know.
I think okay, he's in the 23 class as
Okay,
well.
okay,
So because I was like, man, I think we may have one more target in the 2022 class.
yeah,
Um, It bothers me, but it doesn't worry me. If you guys will just, go with that. Go with me on that. It bothers me, but it doesn't worry me because I know the talent that we have on the team. I think it's really up in the air whether Theo or Jaden um, would go pro. I think that it just depends on what type of seasons they have. I think that if Theo has a season like he did last year, or at least a little bit better, I think you're looking at him and saying, yeah, you could probably go late rounds or so and then make a squad and stick in the league. Then you're looking at Jaden and saying like, "Hey, I think this is your time, so go ahead and shine." Um, but you got to remember, you got Cody Jackson, Jalil Farouk. Um, you got kids like Trevon West, Brian Darby. Obviously, you got Mario Williams, Marvin Mims. You still have a lot of talent on campus. And trust and believe you're going to have some recruits, some transfers that want to come and play. Whether that's a big name like Mike Woods or it's just another kid like Theo Howard or so, you're going to have people who want to come and play for OU, especially after you have the season that you're supposed to have. So like I said, it bothers me, but it doesn't worry me. These kids they have leans to a lot of these places that they've picked. At least it's not anything like, oh well, now he wants to go to Southern Cal or he wants to go here. No, these kids are, he's either wanting to go home, stay home, or he wants to go to Georgia, which is, in my opinion, I'm like, you're going to a team that is known for running, or you're going to a team that's known for losing. So, so you know. But hey, it's recruiting, and that's what happens. You can't blame an 18-year-old kid for making a decision that he thinks is vital to his success. So you wish him the best, and you say Boomer Sooner on the way out the door. um, but I will say, the 22nd is coming up steadily. It's steadily approaching, and I think that's when Brandon Ennis is supposed to be uh, committing. So that's another 5-star that you could potentially be getting
Yep.
the 23 class, which you're really trying to set yourself up for life after the Big 12, anyways. Um, I think that you put your eggs in a basket with that 23 class, but you do go out there and you go get somebody for this 22 class, and you just tell them like, hey, we want you here. But at the same time, you're kind of looking back at like Shetron, kind of like you said today, there's just a feeling out there that if the season goes the way it's supposed to, it could circle the wagon and come back. So one of the big things that I will say about Lincoln is that once you kind of burn that bridge, you burn that bridge. Because uh, word, big word was that Quinn Ewers wanted to come to OU. He called Lincoln after he decommitted from
Texas.
Texas. Yeah, that team. And and so he decommitted from them, and he called Lincoln, and he didn't get a call back. So,
Woo. Yeah. Oh, I love that dude. I love that dude.
hey, he's like, yeah. So, but yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy out there right now with the recruiting circuit. But one of the things that I always say is that we got to see what you're going to do on the field. I think Penn State has the number one class in 22, but we all know that's going to change now.
Yeah,
They
big time.
Because the thing is, they look that first week, that first slate of games, Penn State at Wisconsin, I believe. Like, hey, it's time to put up or shut up. It's some games out there that first week, man. So,
Yep.
um,
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that week too.
yeah, the recruiting trails are going to be blazing. It's blazing saddles out there, blazing saddles out there. But Seth, you got anything else?
No, I think we're kind of entering that calm before the storm because the storm is coming and that storm is college football season. So I think we're kind of hitting that point. We got some last bit of fall camp to look out for, but other than that, I mean, we're literally counting down the days over here. So
So,
yeah,
no, that I'm really excited about it, man. The first week of games, everything that's coming up, and we're gonna do it. Obviously, we're gonna do an episode next week, but we get games next week. It's not the games that we want, but it's the games that we get.
Yeah,
So
do some early scouting on
yeah, I'm definitely
Cornhuskers.
gonna watch UCLA play. Um, and I think they play at like 8 o'clock or so, so that's good. Because I'm not
Is
watching
Nebraska?
Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah, is Nebraska? Is that game at like noon or something? I think it's
Nebraska
early.
against Illinois is at like 12 o'clock. I think it's at noon. I think it's on
Yeah,
Fox. I'm not sure if it's on Fox or some
that
other.
sounds right. That
Yeah,
sounds right.
but yeah, Nebraska, Illinois. I'll be watching that game just to see, uh, what they're doing, what they're running, and kind of see like what's going on. But man, that first week of games, you got, a lot of people are saying that they're gonna beat them by like 40, but like, hey, Ohio State going to Minnesota is not a gimme.
No, especially with all the turnover that they've got, they got to
On
deal with.
on the
You guys,
road, yeah, on the road night game. So that's just a little teaser for you guys out there for the next episode. Um, so I think next episode we're hoping to have our special guest on, as we just said, because we want to preview the first game of the season with the enemy. So we want to go. So we're gonna remotely, not physically, but remotely, virtually, travel to New Orleans so we can go down there and learn a little bit more about Tulane. So that's what we're hoping to have for you guys the next episode. But Seth, anything else that you got?
no, man, I am good.
Okay, well, go ahead, plug yourself, bro. What's up?
Yeah, so you can find more of my writings and such over at crimsonandcreammachine.com. And then you can also find me, obviously, on the Twitter sphere at Seth Oliveira, so you can see my handle right there. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff I wanna share on the Twitter, but I gotta wait for the perfect time because I just come Texas week, I've got it. Nebraska, I've got it. I'll try to come up with something for Tulane game. Like it's hard to come up with stuff for some of these teams, but just some good content. But I'll figure it out. But yeah,
So when I hear Tulane, I'm like, oh yeah, the football team. But when I look at their mascot, I'm just like, the Green Wave. I'm like, are we playing a CBD French? Are we playing one of CBD franchises or what? I'm like, what do you mean Green Wave? What is that? What is this? It's not football. But but no, hey everybody, you can find me at Chris with the K. Like I always say, yes, my name is spelled with a K and a C. I did not spell it wrong. That's fine. All you Texas fans out there, you suck. You're that team. You're not a good team. Steve Sarkisian, overhyped is fine. But anyways, no, yeah, you can definitely find me. Come to me at the Twitter Spirit. Okay, Seth is the football head. I'm the troll. Okay, I'm the kind of Texas. I will snitch on everybody in Texas if they will get that program shut down. But, but anyways, hey, that's been another episode of the Horns Down podcast, and here we go.